Ombudsman Commission to teach voters about leadership qualities. Chuave MP queries arrest by internal police unit. And Morobe Governor calls on government to help Cancer Treatment Center.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and welcome. This is Monday's news. The Ombudsman Commission will be conducting voter awareness before the issue of wreaths. The awareness will be based on the qualities of a leader that PNG needs.
The awareness program was launched today at the Ombudsman Commission office. It will encourage voters to elect leaders with these qualities. Qualities that Acting Chief Ombudsman Michael Dick says PNG needs.
Because the Commission is concerned with the increasing number of leaders being investigated for misconduct in office. The Commission is also seriously concerned that leaders who are under investigation for misconduct in office tend to spend more time, more money, and more resources defending themselves in courts and tribunals, that they often have very little time for the people who elected them into office.
The awareness program will run from February to March and should be completed before the issue of wreaths, which has been confirmed by Electoral Commissioner Patilius Gamato to be on the 20th of April. A main concern for the Electoral Commission is ensuring that there is a fair election.
It is a very good initiative, and I hope that you can cover the nation, or if not, as much as possible, some parts. Especially the hotspot areas. And the hotspot areas are mostly the islands provinces. The main urban areas like Port Moresby, Lae, Mount Hagen, Kokopo, Medeng.
Chief Secretary and Chairman of the Interdepartment Election Committee, Isaac Lupari, said they have security plans to ensure everyone votes in an intimidation-free atmosphere.
And we have evidence of, in every community. In 2002, when I was back at home, I saw it firsthand. People have been intimidated, particularly women. Husband had to, were hassling the ladies that you can't vote this way, you have to vote my way. So that's deriving the woman from exercising on this. So we want to make sure that we put in a policing system, a security system that is going to prevent this kind of practice.
At the launch were development partners who stand ready to assist with the Ombudsman Commission's program. With the launch of their program, the Acting Chief Ombudsman also called on everyone to ensure that the elections do not favor just a few. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Also at the launch of the Ombudsman Commission Election Awareness Program, Chief Secretary Isaac Lupari announced that the vetting of electoral rolls will be done in the electorates.
In the past, you see the objection period was executed or conducted in Port Moresby. So people from all over Papua New Guinea had to make the way to making sure to check whether their votes, the names are recorded, whether there is other people who have died or who are going to be born tomorrow, or aliens have been recorded. But this now will be taken right into their backyard. So the vetting and verification will be done at the district level and the ward level. So the community will now have that accountability or visibility right into their districts and wards.
Chuave MP Morobe says he was arrested by members of the Internal Investigation Unit of the RPNGC, yet he is not a member of the police force. Mr. Morobe's arrest follows allegations of official corruption dating back to 2015. He is now asking the police hierarchy to explain why his arrest was conducted by the IIU and not the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate.
The Chuave MP was arrested over the weekend and charged with 8 counts of official corruption. He was apprehended by members of the Internal Investigation Unit last Saturday. A record of interview was conducted and he was formally charged.
Morobe was released on police bail of 1,000 kina. However, Mr. Morobe claims that his arrest is a malicious plot done by a particular policeman to discredit him on the eve of election.
I raised this because the Internal Affairs Directorate of the police force only deals with disciplinary matters, issues that are associated with conduct of police personnel.
Morobe claims his arrest was to interfere with ongoing investigations regarding the 2.9 million kina fraud allegedly committed by former Chuave MP Jim Nomane. Morobe explained that in July 2015, a police officer broke into the Chuave district's Treasury office and removed vital files containing evidences of the 2.9 million kina misappropriation.
But this is so because I can see that this had transpired with a view to cover up, with a major investigation that was sanctioned into the disappearance of 2.9 million kina.
Following the incident, Morobe asked the Chuave Joint District Budget Priorities Committee to release 40,000 kina from the 1 million kina allocated to the law and justice sector to investigate the 2.9 million kina fraud.
And it appears that this particular policeman, who is in the center of this scandal or scam, may have influenced his colleagues to effect the arrest, knowingly that I am not a member of the police force. I'm not a member of the I'm not a member of the disciplinary force to be dealt with by members of the Internal Investigation Unit.
The matter will be listed for mention at the Waigani Communal Courts sometime this month. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Still on the Chuave MP, where Morobe has called on the Royal Papua New Guinea Police Constabulary to ensure that the elections in 4 months are carried out fairly. Morobe's comments come after he was arrested by policemen from the Internal Investigation Unit. He described the act as being rogue and alleges that the policemen were easily influenced by a fellow officer related to a former Chuave MP. After speaking about his arrest, Morobe said moving forward into the elections, candidates must not use the police to suppress the rights of the people to vote freely.
What the people want to see is that the policemen must allow the people to be able to vote for the leader that they want them to represent them. We cannot afford to have a system whereby the system will determine the outcome of any elections. And when that happens, we will lose our democracy.
The Waigani National Court has given Margaret Ani, the former treasurer of the Cancer Relief Foundation, 2 weeks to repay the money she misappropriated. Deputy Chief Justice Sir Gibbs Salika made the order after state prosecution informed the courts today that Ani still has over 50,000 kina to repay. Ani was the treasurer of the Port Moresby Cancer Foundation when she misappropriated over 66,000 kina.
This case relates to over 70 counts of misappropriation and dates back to 2012. In February 2016, the National Court in Waigani found Ani guilty of misappropriating over 66,000 kina and ordered her to repay that money. The court also found that Ani forced her boss's signature onto 24 checks and used the money to repay her husband's debts. This morning, she appeared before Deputy Chief Justice Sir Gibbs Salika with her lawyer and her husband. In court today, the state prosecution told the presiding judge that Ani had over 50,000 kina outstanding and needs to pay the amount before the 1st of March. Ani's lawyer then informed the courts that that Annie's husband, Nick Fletcher, has a contract with a water service provider and will be assisting Annie to repay the money. The matter was adjourned to 1st of March for Annie to inform the courts whether she has repaid the full 60,000 kina. Thaklagunga, National EMTV News.
2 security guards in Mount Hagen were held at gunpoint this morning in front of Mount Hagen City Pharmacy as robbers escaped with an undisclosed amount of cash and stolen items. Police arrived minutes after the robbers left. EMTV witnessed the incident, which lasted less than 15 minutes before the robbers left. The incident happened between 7:30 a.m. and 8 o'clock during the security company's morning shift at City Pharmacy. EMTV was unable to get comments from police and City Pharmacy Mount Hagen today. The pharmacy store is currently closed for business until further notice. Morobe Governor Kelly Naru is appealing to Health Minister Michael Malabag and the Health Department to give immediate attention to the difficulties the cancer unit at Engau Hospital is facing. Naru said the difficulties faced at the PNG Cancer Facility is an ongoing problem that needs the urgent attention from the national government.
Naru says the problem facing Engau is not only to do with drugs. Medical officers, doctors and equipment are also needed.
They must give urgent and immediate attention to the cancer unit problem that we are facing up here in Engau.
Naru added the cancer unit will need a concerted effort from both the national and provincial governments, including stakeholders. However, the Morobe provincial government is willing to support where it can to manage this problem.
It will take all our collective effort to basically manage this problem to a manageable level where it can actually give some degree of comfort to the cancer patients.
Last Monday, Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil raised similar sentiments. Basil also made a call to the national government to look not only at the cancer unit, but other health issues that are affecting the country.
We don't have those specialists in Papua New Guinea. This is the 21st century. Papua New Guinea has a big budget. Papua New Guinea is is going to host the APEC meeting very soon. We host the South Pacific Games, and we are boasting that we are one of the richest nations in the Pacific. But we have failed our people in terms of providing those basic necessities that we need to treat our patients.
Basil's response came after a patient, Winnie Solian, had decided to seek medical treatment overseas after she could not undergo radiotherapy treatment. As there is no oncologist, the last oncologist had left in December last year. Radiation Oncology Registrar Dr. David Kundi, in an interview last week, confirmed that the cancer unit urgently needs an oncologist and CT scanners to help patients.
So we definitely need an oncologist here on ground, especially one that can operate the radiotherapy machine, a radiation oncologist here.
Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Ley.
Still to come on National EMTV News, celebrating World Radio Day and Bougainville leaders urged to work together ahead of referendum. Stay tuned for details. Welcome back. In today's world of technological advancements, how radio programs are produced and broadcast is very different from the days when radio was the primary means of communication for rural people. Today, cell phones have become the primary means of communication, but radio remains an important part of entertainment where television and cell phone signals fail. As Papua New Guinea marked World Radio Day today, broadcasters spoke of how radio remains a key element of Papua New Guinea's development.
Today is World Radio Day. It's an international day of observance for radio practitioners all over the planet.
You're with National Radio in Papua New Guinea in 1975, Independence Year.
For Papua New Guinea, radio has been an integral part of development. From the years before independence in 1975, the influence of radio extended to politics when, at independence, a former radio broadcaster, Michael Somare, became Prime Minister. For veteran radio broadcaster Tonko Nonao, who started with the National Broadcasting Corporation or NBC in 1971, radio represents a sector of the media whose importance is underestimated.
Radio was new, and people were very eager to listen to radio and to get information on what's actually happening in the country. Before self-government independence, they wanted to know their leaders talking on the radio, and what they were saying, what we were telling our people, they believe it.
For the new breed of broadcasters and broadcast journalists, like NBC Morobe's Sylvester Gawi, they've entered into an environment in which NBC operates on a cross-media platform that includes television and social media.
Basically, radio is very, very important because in radio, you are talking to a blind person, someone who cannot see or someone who cannot feel when something may come up inside of society. So what we do here is very important.
Since the 1990s, with cheaper licensing and cheaper technology, the number of FM stations have risen quite significantly, putting PNG among the countries in the Pacific that have the most number of FM stations.
94.7 FM, Sing Sing.
At FM Morobe, the station has tried to maintain a strong vision of positive programming, extending its reach to a youthful audience in Ley City.
From an industry point of view, that gives us a point of difference, but the underlying vision behind that is that we've got so much negativity already in the society. So we want to switch to doing something that is different, very positive, because we have so many unsung heroes and people who have done great things. Unfortunately, those stories don't get to filter through to the mainstream media.
Pablo Radio am support through people. Pablo Radio am touching plenty life pengol man Mary na plenty am sa bring him connect him man Mary logadap inside lo little place go big place every minute, every hour, every seconds because radio me connect one man Mary.
The landscape of radio is an ever-changing one. Going forward, many stations are now beginning to take advantage of cheaper means of broadcasting, incorporating YouTube videos and podcasts. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Ley.
New Zealand's Foreign Affairs Minister Mari Mekali will be in the autonomous region of Bougainville tomorrow on an official visit of the region. Autonomous Bougainville Government Chief Secretary Joseph Nobetau said this is an important visit for the region from a close friend and ally. He said New Zealand's support was instrumental in the developments of the Bougainville Peace Agreement. Nobetau said this opportunity will also allow acting ABG President Raymond Masono to formally thank the New Zealand government for their continued support. Good leadership will determine or articulate Bougainville's future. This is from the Treasury Minister Patrick Pruach in Bougainville recently. Pruach spoke of why leadership in Bougainville is crucial in determining its referendum. Fabian Hakalets has this story.
June 15, 2019 is the significant date set and is one of the biggest decisions Papua New Guinea will make on Bougainville's quest for independence. The Treasury Minister took this opportunity in Buin and spoke his mind on why Bougainville leadership in the national government is very important, which is absolute and necessary.
Referendum. Leadership in Bougainville must rise up. People of Bougainville must choose the right leadership so that your future is determined.
Bougainville leadership must unite. Mr. Pruach gave an example of South Bougainville MP Timothy Masiu, who, although in a short term, has articulated the issues surrounding Bougainville, which needs solutions.
Here he is able to work with ABG. When our member of Parliament, the Bougainville in the work one time ABG. What is wrong in us working together?
Meanwhile, Bougainville needs regional attention because it has its own opportunities. Mr. Pruitt said the autonomous region of Bougainville deserves to be prominently featured as a top priority of the national government.
Bougainville cannot be managed by Bougainville Affairs Ministry. Bougainville need enough must sit down on number 1 priority of the national government. That's the only way you make him require funding to move him. Agenda bla yumi.
In Boca, Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Patrick Nisira, the Vice President of the autonomous Bougainville government, has assured Bougainvillians that the referendum will be conducted in 2019. As Minister responsible, Nisira says preparations towards this target date of June 15, 2019 are well underway.
Mr. Nisira says the creation of the Bougainville Referendum Commission gives confidence for this date to be realized.
People referendum the independence of Bougainville autonomy this referendum will be held because the national government and the ABG is committed to delivering on the joint commitment of the Bougainville Peace Agreement.
Although there are doubts of this date, the Vice President has brushed aside critics, saying under the Bougainville Peace Agreement there must be no further delays. This means people will have to choose whether to vote for independence or for Bougainville to remain an autonomous region of the independent state of Papua New Guinea.
Every time that you Bougainvilleans, you start thinking, me as a Bougainvillean, when I'm work Blomilo government, or when I'm work Blomilo church, or when I'm work Blomi inside the community, we Bougainvilleans must start to think that today is the time.
In order for a referendum to be successful, Nisira says Bougainvilleans must remain committed, changing mindsets and approaches in dealing with situations. In Boca, Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
South Bougainville MP Timothy Masiu has slammed the Border Development Authority for failing to drive development activities along the border communities of Bougainville and the Solomon Islands. Mr. Masiu says the setup of infrastructure and facilities like police, quarantine and immigration is important for surveillances and control. And the national government must initiate a dialogue with the Solomon Islands government to control movement within their borders.
An example is its failure to release funding of 10 million kina that was earmarked and publicly announced here to develop Kangu border post, but not happened to date. Hence, I call for the removal and replacement of the current executive chairman as soon as possible, more particularly the Kangu border post. The Kangu border post is strategic. It is the gateway and waterway for the Melanesian Spearhead Group countries and Pacific Forum countries.
Customary landowners of Medang Town are calling on the government to settle their outstanding royalties. Nopseseku Incorporated Land Group Chairman Suegi Kelebob said they have now given the government a 7-day ultimatum to address their grievances. A non-favorable response from the government will see the town, airport and main wharf shut down.
The Nopseseku ILG says the government has an outstanding payment of more than 6 million kina.
After payment of 2012, and then the interested parties, they all court, and then argue, fight, come, and then 2012, 16, October 11th, and the judge, Medang Town National Courthouse, Medang, handing down a ruling that the Nopseseku Incorporated Land Group is the traditional customary landowners of Medang Town.
Displacement of customary landowners and land grabbing from settlers has been a long debated issue in Medang Town. ILG Chairman Suegi Kelebob said before the 2016 ruling, the Medang Provincial Administration through the National Lands Department has identified them as the legitimate landowners. This issue has also seen numerous court proceedings challenged by interested parties through judicial reviews.
Customary landowners all been suffered for 128 years, and then all no money, and then all big pain, suffering up to now, and then people fight for 40 years, nothing. Government no look silo and then now all big pain. So government sim big like alvim lo desla ba Medeng town establishment the land now establishment. Government lo the national government outstanding payment 6.3 must be paid immediately. Failure of making this law, we will always gonna stop him. Airport, 1, 2, wharf, the market, the national something, housing too, maybe like got plan. So government now maybe like give him for 7 days as from now. He go along one time finish, like go back, na stop him Medeng town.
Take him rightful steps long solving this la something. So mipla got frustration, mipla come. Time government and delay in working mipla round also. Government to seriously look him, acquire him. Mipla ready to work with one government, Medeng provincial government, national lands, state agencies.
The Nop Sesoko ILG consists of the Nop and Sisiek tribes with a population of more than 9,000. The customary landowners are currently in Port Moresby awaiting a response from the government within the time frame given. Marilyn Diaukatam, National EMTV News.
Landowners in the PDL3 area of the Gobe project in Southern Highlands have brushed aside a recent publication describing it as the work of paper landowners. They say the three-man bench decision by the Supreme Court must be upheld and not used to provoke uncertainty. They say the court has ruled on this issue and no parties outside the PDL3 and 4 area must challenge the decision.
Wilfred Upeke and his clansmen spoke to MTV News today over a recent media publication by other Gobe land owners. They say paper land owners have challenged them in court for over 20 years but have failed.
That truth has prevailed. We have come this far. We have obtained all these documents through the court proceedings, and we are here to announce and proclaim and provide all these documents to prove that we are the legitimate landowners of Gobe project.
Upeke and his clansmen have with them a ministerial determination by Petroleum and Energy Minister Nixon Duban. Nearly 21 clans have challenged this matter in court. For these men and women, they are the last from the tribe who shares borders with the Gulf people through traditional boundaries.
In everything that Mibla would while she make him local, Mibla behind him law straight na Mibla come. There is nothing loopholes that Mibla some backdoor deals or some notion and Mibla no something. Mibla behind him straight law. Everything that we did, Mibla behind him law.
Their land has been registered with the Land Titles Commission. They say paper land owners have attempted to hijack their land title in the past but have failed. Following proper procedures of land registration and ownership, DP has granted them as legitimate land owners of PDL3.
We got title one time. We talk thank you log. State Minister you give me title on me. Na ground bag on me. We talk thank you.
For Upeke and his people, their concern is for legitimate land owners in project areas to speak the truth so resource owners benefit.
Now we've come this far to claim this. And for them to go na Bagrabi name the minister, I would say they are in contempt because the Supreme Court order says so.
Jack Lopave, Junior National, MTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the Kina opened unchanged at $0.3150 US in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3075 US, $0.3983 Australian dollars, $0.2871 euro, and 34.68 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and cocoa closed lower, coffee and copra closed the day higher. Copper closed higher, while palm oil and crude oil closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 96.97 points higher, the ASX is trading at 40.09 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 41.31 points higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The Chief Executive Officer of the newly established Mount Hagen City Authority is rebutting media publicity which blamed them for the city's untidiness and increase of petty crimes. CEO Leo Noki said there is a court order in place which prevents the authority from working and keeping Mount Hagen City clean and safe. However, he clarified that the Mount Hagen National Court gave orders for the City Council to work without freezing their account.
According to the report published in a daily newspaper last Thursday, Mount Hagen Urban LLG Manager Pies Pim said the City Council were unable to carry out their duty to keep the city functioning. The city manager blamed the city authority for freezing their accounts and blocking them from having access to tax revenue collected in the city. However, the CEO, Leonoki, told EMTV News that this was misleading to the city's residents and business houses.
If he's not doing that and he's saying that the accounts have been frozen and he has no money, yeah, we're dealing with a person who is totally misleading our people and who's trying to divert our attention away from himself. He's only deviating.
Noki said the City Council took the city authority to court, which resulted in signatures being changed, and the City Council had the authority again to carry out its duties. The court case remains pending for the judge to rule on which party will have access to funding to keep Mount Hagen City clean and safe. For timing, the National Court had directed the City Council to keep the city functioning with money collected from internal revenue.
Mr. Pim has it all, the trucks, the equipment, the funds, all the workers, all the service providers. So what is he waiting for? The courts have given the orders. He wanted the courts to give everything to him. He's got it all. And he's simply mismanaging. He simply lacks the ability to. I'm very sorry for Hagen.
Noki stated that both parties had reconciled and agreed for the City Council to clean Hagen City, but had done nothing, which prompted the city authority to step in and clean up. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The Department of Works began its week training on how to operate and maintain Japanese disaster reduction equipment in Leh today. 25 employees from the department are currently taking part in the training, which will provide them with basic knowledge and skills. It is facilitated by FutureBud International Company and Kyokuto, the suppliers of the machines. Julie Badui Owa with this report.
15 new pieces of disaster reduction equipment have been funded by the government of Japan through the Japanese International Cooperation System to PNG. The PNG government, through the Department of Works, had also contributed 9 machines. These men are apprentices and experts from the Plant and Transport Division with the Department of Works as mechanics and operators of these new machines who are undergoing the training in Leh.
The training takes only 2 days. From today and tomorrow, we'll be switching the roles of the training. First, the chassis training, and the second will be the body, how to do the operation of the body training.
The Plant and Transport Division's primary role is to purchase, manage, and maintain a centralized fleet of plant and vehicles for the provincial and national government. The first day training was based on safety matters for preventing serious damage and injuries. The facilitator from FutureBud International Company Limited, Yuji Ito, did an introduction on the general purpose of use of the equipment, the basic operation of the machines, and the daily safety check.
Yes, this is quite important because the dump truck can be used to enhance the capacity of disaster countermeasures. When the disaster happens in remote areas, this dump truck can go to the area and to do the service, and this helps to enhance the capacity building and capacity of this nation.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Leh.
The wildlife settlement area outside of Port Moresby was empowered through an association to receive basic government services. The Wildlife Border Association, Inc. will be a platform for people to access government services in water supply, electricity and education. Yesterday, local MP Labi Amayu was present in the area to launch the association. Erica Rupma with this report.
Dancers from the area comprised children and teachers from the Glynch Elementary School, Morobe dancers from Southern Islands and those from Enga Province who led the entrance. The wildlife settlement area was a state post and first settled by people from different provinces in the islands who have since developed the land over the years. It was situated on the border of the two electorates of Moresby Northeast and Moresby Northwest.
You organize the youth, remember come now by cement and talk thank you long. You organize the you stop one. Now you make something burn up. So remember time you come inside, make a people bless no problem me have a must no Mr. What's what power back ever come.
This area hosts a large population. However, with current development trends, education, water supply and electricity is a concern for them. Because of that, community leaders have formed an association called Wildlife Border Association, Inc. as a platform to channel their needs to the government. Yesterday, local MP Labi Amayu was invited there to launch the association.
So this association in which this day you play set him, you play inviting member people to come, and want to significant something you play creating. Yes, you may suffer for the last 20, 30 years since independence, but now you may realize your mistakes, no, you may. We have come over age. How much money you go to school, kiss him, you may waste him on unnecessary something. But today you can understand him also, we got very impact issues where we affecting society. So in order you contribute, you can use him this or support him, this association where you may create him today.
Following the ceremony, Mr. Amayu committed 60,000 kina to resurvey the land to identify which boundary they come under, so that services will be delivered. He also donated a vehicle and committed 20,000 kina to Glynch Elementary School and 10,000 kina to a church. Erica Rupma, National MTV News.
Turning overseas, residents below the tallest dam in the United States near Oroville in Northern California were ordered to evacuate immediately yesterday after authorities said an auxiliary spillway was in danger of imminent collapse. The Yuba County Office of Emergency Services urged evacuees to travel only to the east, south or west. State authorities and engineers last Thursday began carefully releasing water from the Lake Oroville Dam, some 65 miles north of Sacramento, after noticing that large chunks of concrete were missing from a spillway. Water levels were less than 7 feet from the top of the dam on Friday, as levels in the reservoir rose because of a California winter of heavy rain and snow that followed several years of severe drought in the state. California Governor Jerry Brown asked the Federal Emergency Management Agency on Friday to declare a major disaster due to flooding and mudslides brought on by the storms. Chukai Sports is next. We'll be back with the details.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. The Morobe provincial government, under the leadership of Governor Kelly Naru, has come to the aid of Lay City Dwellers Football Club again this year with a sponsorship of 1 million kina towards their participation in the O-League and the National Soccer League. Last Friday, Governor Naru, who is also the patron of the club, presented the club with a dummy check of 1 million kina and the first installment of 300,000 kina to assist the club in their preparation to travel to Fiji for their friendly matches before heading to Auckland, New Zealand for the OFC Champions League. The funding source of this sponsorship is Governor's PSIP 2017, Governor's Office and Church Partnership Program. In 2016, they were assisted with the same amount. The Papua New Guinea Under-17 side lost to New Caledonia 3-2 in their first OFC Champions World Cup qualifier in Stade Mahina in Tahiti. PNG came back from a 2-0 at halftime scoreline to draw 2-2 with New Caledonia, but a late penalty saw New Caledonia win the game.
It took New Caledonia 5 minutes to open the scoring. The game went on, a back-and-forth play-out through the middle of the first half, before an extremely well-timed pass from Tituan Richard found Gopi Fenapas to score their second. After the 30-minute water break would see PNG narrowing the gap with a long-range effort from defender Kimson Kapai. PNG, with a renewed sense of determination after the interval, grabbed the equalizer through substitute Bate Kerubin. But just when the two sides looked to have drawn the game, PNG's hopes were dashed in the final added minutes when a penalty was awarded to New Caledonia. Newcastle Bernard stepped up from the spot and fired home to hand his side the win.
One of those games, you know, you had it, but or even you draw the game, but it just slipped away. Then again, it comes back to discipline, you know.
In the second match, the home side Tahiti beat Vanuatu 1-0. Shane Savoya, National EMTV Sports.
Chuave Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
Chuave Sports.
Welcome back to Chuave Sports. To cricket, the CPL PNG Lewers did not break their losing streak as yet. With the first successful practice match against host Sri Lanka, the matches that followed did not yield good results as expected, and all were against the likes of Bangladesh, Thailand and Pakistan. The recent one being the match against Scotland, where PNG lost by just 7 runs last Friday. They will face South Africa later this evening, and hopefully the Lewers redeem themselves against this threatening opponent. In tennis, Germany's Fed Cup tennis players and captain defiantly sang their country's correct national anthem on Saturday when the wrong words were sung before their match against the United States in Maui, Hawaii. The first stanza, including the words Deutschland über alles, was sung by a soloist before the match instead of the third stanza, which is the national anthem and the only stanza used in modern Germany. The first stanza had been adopted as the national anthem before and during World War II, and so was declared obsolete after the conflict. German fans and players were seen singing the correct anthem loudly once they realized what was happening. And that ends Chuave Sports. The weather details when we come back.
Chuave Sports. Chuave Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Looking at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours, in the southern region, cloudy with chances of a shower or two in Port Moresby, a shower or two in Daru, and some showers in Kerema, Alotau and Popondetta. In the Momasi region, some showers in Lae and a shower or two in Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, a shower or two in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka, and some showers in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, brief rain showers, then expected morning fog in all centres. Forecast for small chips for the next 24 hours. Strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerema to Yule Island to Hood Point to all Milne Islands. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerema to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samarai Island, and with waters of eastern and western Milne Islands, seas of 2.5 to 3 meters. Waters northwest of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitia Strait, Siasi Island to Long Island, seas of 1.5 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Long Island to Medang, to Bogia to Wewak, to Aitape to Vanimo, to northern PNG Indonesian border, and with Manus and its western group of islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of New Ireland to New Britain, to Bougainville, seas of 1.5 to 2 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea. Seas rough with northwest winds at 25 to 34 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas slight to moderate with northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas moderate with southwest to northwest winds at 15 to 25 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate with northeast to northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. With doing with Dulux.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. Ombudsman Commission to teach voters about leadership qualities. Chuave MP queries arrest by internal police unit. And Morobe Governor calls on government to help Cancer Treatment Center. And that's the way it is this Monday, the 13th of February 2017. From the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.